Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another session of the summer webinar series by the Law Students Council. In this session, we'll be aiming to dive deep into the realm of FTO laws and how is FTO combating the maladministration of FBI. My name is Talha Ranjha. I am the Chief Coordinator of Law Students Council and I'll be hosting this session. For this very session, we have a very special guest with us who is none other than Mr. Almaas Jovindah. Welcome to the webinar, sir.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure, Talha.
Thank you, sir. Before getting into the topic of today's webinar, I'd like to give a brief introduction of our esteemed guest. Mr. Almaas Jovindah is the legal advisor of the Federal Tax Ombudsman. Mr. Jovindah is the president at Robust Consultants as well. He is also the president at Cyber Legal Arm, which is the first exclusive cyber law firm in Pakistan, and Just1 TV, which is the first exclusive TV channel for the legal fraternity. Mr. Jovindah is the Executive Secretary at FPO, which is the Forum of Pakistan Ombudsman, and the Executive Secretary at OIC Ombudsman Association as well. Welcome again, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction.
Thank you. Now we'll be getting into the FTO laws without any further ado. So I'll start with my first question, which is, so starting with the introduction of the FTO and FTO laws, can you please walk us through the evolutionary process that FTO has went through since its inception?
Talha, this is very important, and especially I would like to thank you for providing me an opportunity to talk to the students and to really let them know what exactly Federal Tax Ombudsman does and what is the general concept of ombudsmanship here in Pakistan and world over. See, the Federal Tax Ombudsman institution that was established in year 2000, but we have to go a little past actually. 1983 was the year when the first ombudsman in Pakistan, that's called the 𝗟𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗀, that institution was created through the legislation. This has been everywhere in the world that there has been ombudsman, and ombudsman is considered the friends of the general public, and that is to counter the maladministration of the public functionaries. When we say public functionaries, we all somehow or the other, we face government institutions in many capacities, whether this is taxation, whether it is the civil bureaucracy, we get to the hospitals, schools, colleges, whatever. All these people are the employees of the government and they are the public functionaries. And if there is a maladministration on their part, we need to have some institution to provide redressal of that maladministration. So this concept of dealing the maladministration of public functionaries, if we go back in the history, well, we connect it to the Caliphate time and to the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon himself. Actually, he focused that the public functionaries are accountable and the general public can make them accountable. And then it transcends from there to caliphates and then ultimately to the Ottoman Empire. In the modern time, the Swedish people, they take credit that they introduced this institution. But I was told, and I was surprised to know it, that one of the king of the Sweden, he had an exile in Turkey, the present time Turkey and the Turkey of that time. And during that time, he observed that they have a very good, very strong system of ombudsman over there. He came back and introduced the same to the Sweden, and this is where the ombudsman movement started. The modern ombudsman movement started. So it took a long time from 1800 something to 1983 when we had for the first time the first ombudsman in Pakistan, the 𝗟𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗀. Now, you all being law students are very important. I mean, I keep telling the students wheresoever I go and lecture them and tell them that during when I did my law or my contemporaries and all that, whenever we used to get free from the law college, going for our internship, We were told that there are only two disciplines, civil and the criminal, but there was hardly any third discipline told to us to practice and all that. But frankly speaking, in modern day time, there are more than 80 different disciplines which are directly or indirectly related to the field of law. And we must opt for those disciplines also. Today, if I've got a problem with my nose, I go to an ENT surgeon. I have a problem with my eye, I go for an ophthalmologist or something like that. Or for that matter, it's a time and age of the specialist actually. Uh, but somehow or the other, with the law practice, this has always been a generalized kind of a thing, and every lawyer used to practice every kind of law. I keep telling students that if you create a niche of if you get your specialized areas, you will definitely be very exclusive, and you will be far more effective, and you will have a far better knowledge than many others who are not exclusive of certain area. Now, getting back to the Wafaki Mahotsav, when Wafaki Mahotsav was introduced in Pakistan, for good 17 years, this institution, despite being very good, very result oriented, very effective to provide redressal for the grievances of the general public, they realized they are not specialists in many areas. Like if there were cases regarding taxation, they felt they are handicapped because they do not have many good qualified people who have that knowledge and the expertise of the taxation. Taxation is a very tricky, very serious, and this is the area where you have to be very you have to have that grasp and the grip of the subject actually. At the same time, they realize that there are issues regarding banking. They do not have the bankers over there. They have the issues regarding insurance. They do not have the specialists of those over there. So first time in Pakistan, it was realized that, okay, there is a federal tax ombudsman, but there have to be some other ombudsmen who specially deal the specialist areas. And that is in the year 2000, when Federal Tax Ombudsman Office was enacted. And this was done through an ordinance because in year 2000, there was not parliament, but the president of Pakistan issued an ordinance, and through ordinance, Federal Tax Ombudsman and the Banking Ombudsman and the Insurance Ombudsman, these three institutions, they were created. Now, with the Federal Tax Ombudsman, I must tell you, it deals with the FBR, Federal Board of Revenue, and in the other branches of FBR which collect taxes, which include income tax, customs, sales tax, and excise. And these are the four areas which falls in the domain of FBR. So we were assigned that if there's a maladministration within FBR, that is going to be our jurisdiction and domain. Now, what is the maladministration? If you go to the income tax people, they send you a notice that, okay, this is your tax, you have to pay and all that. This is not, and if you have any complaint on that, actually, you say that, oh, they have assessed me wrong. They have not applied the right tariff on you, actually. That is not my jurisdiction. My jurisdiction is where they give you runaround, where they give you multiple notices, where they do not give you ample time to respond to their notices, where they ask for the bribe, where they do not decide anything within a stipulated period of the time, where they bully you, they harass you, there is a blackmailing. These are the maladministration. And if along with the assessment part, along with the recovery part, along with the payment part of your taxes and all that, simultaneously, if this happens, this purely falls into the jurisdiction of Federal Tax Ombudsman. Now, there are so many examples of that, actually. You people are young, but still you people pay taxes, like you pay indirect taxes through your telephone, you buy products and you pay sale tax and all that. And if you pay anything which need to be refunded back to you, and that is not done within 60 days of time, actually, that is maladministration. They were supposed to do that particular process of refund within stipulated period of time, and anything which is not done within stipulated period of time, that is sheer maladministration of them. So what we have done in last 23 years is this institution has evolved. This is a very pertinent question, the evolution of FTO actually. Not many concepts were clear in the beginning. The first ombudsman was Justice retired 𝗖cie𝗺𝗀𝗃𝗃. He had a background of a judiciary, but unfortunately, not realizing that we have created an institution which is for the which is to handle the malpractices of tax regime. We still had a federal tax ombudsman who had a little background of a taxation. He was a judge of the Supreme Court. Now, that really helped the institution to understand the jurisdiction of the maladministration. The concept of maladministration was elaborated in those 3-4 years at many forums, but somehow or the other, the potency of federal tax ombudsman was not realized to the full. Once his tenure ended, that was usually a ombudsman is appointed for 4 years. Once his tenure was appointed, he was again followed by another judge of the Supreme Court. So the same momentum continued. And once his tenure was over, then we had 2 IG police people. They took over. And the third one was, the fifth one was from the DMG. So these 5 tenure of good 20 years, the people who were heading as an ombudsman of FTO, they had no taxation background. And the result was that each year, we used to receive about, on average, 2,000 complaints every year, and we used to resolve about like 1,600 of those complaints. But with the current federal tax ombudsman, he is the first ever ombudsman who had a background of taxation. He served with the Pakistan Customs for good 30 years, so he knew everything. When I say somebody has to be from the background of taxation, that really helps you to have your proper team to understand the mechanism of tax collection and the maladministration being carried out at all the tiers, because you have gone through the entire process of that institutional evolution. You understand what custom is, you understand what income tax is and all that. So in last 18 months, I would say, the average that used to be around 2,000, 2,200, this year we received about 7,000 complaints, and out of 7,000 we resolved about 6,800 complaints actually. So that's a pretty high number, unbelievable in a way that within our organization people used to believe that this is not going to happen, but this happened actually. So right man for the right job, number one. Number two, we did one different thing from the predecessors actually. In the modern world, again, I'll give you an example of Turkey. In Turkey, like Pakistan, the pendency of the cases over there were around something like 3 million cases. 3 million cases pending for many, many years. So about 4-5 years back, the intellectual mind of judiciary, they sat down together and they decided how to overcome this this backlog and to resolve it. And they said the only possible way to do it is to go for informal dispute resolution. We call it ADR, we call it mediation and all that. So in Turkey, they in different areas, I mean, if we have a parallel of that in each district and tehsil, they evolved different ADR institutions. And can you imagine, last 5 years, they have resolved more than 3 million cases, and now the backlog has gone to 0. So it has reduced the burden of the courts and things like that. Over here, when I joined Federal Tax Ombudsman as advisor legal and advisor overseas Pakistani, the first thing I said, we are going to resolve the complaints of the people through informal dispute resolution. If a complaint come to me and I look at the complaint and prima facie I see there is a maladministration, some inspector has shown high-handedness, he has been asking for the bribe, he has been playing. But I mean, I give you an example that if I have a fruit coming from any other country, fruit is a perishable item that need to be cleared by the custom authorities maximum 2 to 3 or 4 days time. If it is not done in 3 to 4 days time, the fruit is going to perish away, and that is a huge loss. So these custom people, they will identify these kind of product which are time bound, and they will ask any kind of bribe. And the best way to ask the bribe is to delay the, oh, okay, my collector is not here, my the appraiser is not here, can you come tomorrow, and all that. And for a businessman, time is a real essence. So this is a maladministration when you delay and you make somebody run around for his product and all that. So what we did, we introduced informal dispute resolution, and we said and we told people that if you realize that there is somebody who is delaying it on purpose just to make money out of you, please come to us. And my advisor, all those people who assist Honorable Federal Tax Ombudsman, they will assess it, and prima facie, if they understand there's a maladministration, instead they registered a complaint. They do an adjudication process, which is again, it takes about 60 days to adjudicate and all that. He will pick up a phone and call the concerned collector and tell him, look, this is your inspector. He is doing this kind of mistreatment to this importer. Please go intervene and tell him to resolve this issue in next 5 hours or 6 hours. Can you imagine? We resolved more than 1,700 complaints in last 6-7 months through informal dispute resolution, which was never done before. And to my surprise, the ordinance itself had a provision. I mean, I would like you all to please read this ordinance. There is a section 33 which called for the informal dispute resolution, but somehow or the other, it was never invoked. Nobody bothered to invoke it. You know, unless until I came, or my ombudsman, he came and he said, no, no, we are going to do it. So this is something, a new trend that we introduced. And once we introduced and we had a success, now we preach it. We take it to the other ombudsmen. You know, as you said, I am the executive secretary of the Forum of Pakistan Ombudsman, where all the 14 ombudsmen are the part of the organization. So, I mean, like we had a conference a couple of days back in Quetta. I told each one of them that this is the high time. Perhaps we must ensure that our priority should be informal dispute resolution, and through informal dispute resolution, we can resolve the cases. That is the number one. Number two, can you imagine what we did, which other courts need to do also? We introduced technology. I mean, like the way I'm talking to you at the StreamYard today, we introduced similar kind of thing that, okay, if complainant is not in Islamabad or Lahore, he is in another city, he is in Gujranwala, or he is in Wazirabad, or he is somewhere in Mia Chanu, we'll tell him to come on the Zoom. We'll record his statement on the Zoom. We will tell him that you don't really need to visit our offices. Send your documents through WhatsApp, email, whatever is convenient and all that. And if we need to have him a part of the proceeding, we provide him an opportunity to come through the Zoom and all that. And through this exercise, the average time, which is stipulated time is 60 days, has come down now to 37 days. So last 1 year, the complaints, around 6,800 complaints that we have resolved, our average time has come down to 37, 38 days. And when I say that 7,000 complaints, can you imagine some of the decision? We have, how do we receive the complaints? We have 5 different ways to receive a complaint. Well, there can be a complainant, somebody who is going through the hardship, is being maltreated by the FBRO people. He can himself directly come to us. He can write us an email, send his complaint through WhatsApp, or he can visit any of our offices. We have 14 offices here in Pakistan. But along with that, the President of Pakistan can refer us. Oh, he notices something in the media, something come to his observation, and he can refer a case to us. Similarly, Supreme Court and the High Courts of the Pakistan, if during any case, during any hearing, they realize there is a maladministration by FBR people in any case. There are a lot of cases where it comes to the assessment. As I told you earlier, that assessment and duty, the tariff, this is not my jurisdiction. But once the wrong tariff is applied, once the law is not interpreted right, and the people they suffer. For that, they have to go to the relevant forum, which is the Commissioner Income Tax. Then there's a tribunal. We call this the Income Tax Tribunal, and in custom there's a Custom Tribunal, and further to that there is appeal in the High Court and the Supreme Court. That's the hierarchy that you have to follow. But if in the process there is a maladministration where the court identifies there is a maladministration, court can refer us that cases and can direct us, okay, this is the maladministration, this is your jurisdiction, you take up this case and decide about it. Third is, which is very important, that there can be a reference by the National Assembly and the Senate. The member of the National Assembly and the Senate, they can refer cases to us of the maladministration. And one of the very important is own motion. Own motion is, I give you an example, that if an importer, if an industrialist is hand in glove with the FBR people, and they together are making money, he is avoiding taxation, and the FBR people, they are making money through bribe, and the only the sufferer is the government of Pakistan, is the treasury of Pakistan, where the tax evasion has taken place in connivance with the FBR, and nobody's there to complain. This is where federal tax ombudsman can take own motion. We call it our prerogative of own motion, that we initiate an own motion once we hear something from the newspaper, from the media, or anything like that, and then we take our initiative, and then we can take up case and investigate and give directions. Now, getting to the system, that once we decide something, we give recommendation to FBR. These are our recommendation, and you need to implement it. What if they don't implement it? We give them 45 days. If they do not implement our orders, we call it a recommendation, then we issue them a defiance notice, that we give them instruction, and they are defying our instructions. And after that show cause notice, we can go into the contempt proceeding. And the ombudsman, every ombudsman in the federal, and including that of the federal tax ombudsman, we have the powers of the judge of the Supreme Court of Pakistan, that in the contempt proceeding, we can punish somebody with a 6 month of imprisonment, and that's something serious. And once we issue the defiance notice, so as a result of the defiance notice, we can take it further to the contempt proceeding. We can issue a letter of defiance, and which we can instruct the FBR to display on the personal file of that person, the service file of that person, that he is inept, he is incompetent, he is corrupt, and whenever there's a promotion or posting, this should be kept in mind. We can write to the President of Pakistan that this guy here in FBR is creating problem for Pakistan. So you also write a letter, or you also take an action. So this is usually what we do to make the implementation possible, and that is the reason we have a very high rate of implementation. You know, the challenge in the courts, in all courts in Pakistan, is that there are orders, there are judgments, but those judgments, the orders, those are not implemented. But with us, it's altogether a different case, that we ensure that those orders get implemented, and for that we have a mechanism. Now, once we issue an order, there are two options, either for the complainant or for the FBR. Number one is they can come for a review to us. They can, if they think that the recommendation, the decision is not as per law, there is some deviation, it's a faulted finding, they can put up a review with us, and that review usually Honorable Ombudsman, he himself adjudicate and all that. If not, then they have another option, that is they can put up a representation with the President of Pakistan. So President of Pakistan is going to adjudicate on that particular part. So these are the two areas. No other court, there is a bar of jurisdiction that no other court can take jurisdiction of the cases which relate to us, which is the maladministration. And no appeal lies in any other court but with us or with the President of Pakistan. So we have this hierarchy in the system. So this is a bit brief that I wanted to give you. And well, I can go on and on, but I would like to have your questions, and those questions will help all of us understand the concept of ombudsmanship better.
Yes, sir, that was very well explained. Thank you. So, sir, what sort of maladministration or malpractice of the FBR, or largely speaking, the tax functionaries, fall under the ambit of FTO? Considering that there is a separation of powers, the FTO and the courts and the appellate tribunals.
See, as I told you, the maladministration is purely the jurisdiction of federal tax ombudsman and all the ombudsmen. I mean, I give you an example that somebody, you bring an item here in Pakistan, and they impose certain import duty on that actually, and that import duty, imposition of that import duty, you want to contest that. You want to say, this is something that has been wrongly assessed. For that, you will not come to us. For that, you will go to the custom department. And similarly, with the income tax, if you don't agree to the imposition of the income tax, you will go to the income tax IRS, and you will put up a complaint there with the concerned deputy commissioner. Now, if you do not get an order of your likening from the deputy commissioner, or in case of the custom, from the custom concerned officer, then you will put up an appeal with the commissioner. So they have a system of their own. This is something which is altogether different when you say that there is the people, they have their own territories. So we don't get into that territory. But if while the collection of the taxes, they give you a tough time in a way that this is your right, that they provide you ample time to respond to certain things, to provide you the documents, whatever are required and all that. Usually what happens, they send you a notice in the evening and they say, okay, tomorrow 10 o'clock maximum, you have to provide us this 20 different documents. You can't do it. This is insufficient time. And once they do something like this is maladministration. So this maladministration is my jurisdiction. I will tell them that you have to provide him ample time to respond. And if you are not to, ample time mean which is stipulated by the law. You cannot do like this, that overnight you send notice somebody and say, oh, morning by morning you have to do it. You go to a certain officer and he or she does not attend you, make you sit out of his office for hours and hours and hours, and they are there to serve you actually. This is maladministration. You go there and they ask for the bribe, they ask for something in return. This is maladministration. They are supposed to, like I give you the example that there is a refund which they have to make, and that refund is supposed to be made within 60 days, and instead of the 60 days it take years and years. This is their incompetency. This is maladministration. So if you look at the statute of federal tax ombudsman, it is defined very with a clarity that once it is inept, there is a delay, it is deviating from the usual practices, they are asking for the bribery and the jobbery, they send you multiple notices. All this is a maladministration. And once you identify there is a maladministration, remember this thing: maladministration is not adjudicated at any forum. Again, I give you an example that you get a hardship from anybody, you go to the High Court, to the Supreme Court, you put up a writ petition, oh, this taxation has not been done right. They will give an order that please correct it. This should have been done like this. But the pain and the agony that you have gone through, the hardship that you have gone through, the time you have spent and wasted in this entire exercise, that resulted because of the maladministration. Something they should have done with the competence, they have not done that. This is the area where we intervene and we tell them to correct, and we provide you a remedy for that actually.
Sir, if a person believes that he or she is being wronged by the FBR or is a victim of FBR's malpractice directly or indirectly, what should be the ideal course of action for that person to in the
Right
pursuit of?
away, right away come to us. This is, see, important thing is that when you find that maladministration, this is what we try to educate people everywhere. For that, you have to have that evidence, and that evidence is like somebody sending you multiple notices. Those notices are the evidence. Somebody not giving you ample time to respond, that is an evidence. Somebody has not given you a reasonable time uh, uh, to pay your dues and all that. That 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 itself is an evidence. So collect that evidence, and with that evidence, come to Federal Tax Ombudsman. This is where we will take over. And as I said, we try to keep it a very simple procedure. We don't ask for many hearings. It is maximum couple of hearings, and then we adjudicate. Remember, we must understand, and we must make it clear in our mind that for these kind of hardship, there is no relief available in any other court. It is only ombudsman that provides you relief in that action.
Right, sir. So we have established that if a person believes that he is being wronged by the FBR or the tax functionaries, largely speaking, then he should come to the FTO. So a
Yes.
potentially aggrieved person has filed a complaint in FTO against the FBR's maladministration. What would be the procedure of provision of relief to that aggrieved person?
See, uh, the procedure is pretty simple. Procedure is like you put up an application by email or personally you give it to us. So what we say is that the complainant should not be anonymous. It should not be pseudonymous. It has to be somebody known to us. So we just request him to provide his ID card. We verify that somebody is genuine. Then we look at the content of the complaints and we ask whatever the evidence you have. The moment we receive that evidence, we send a notice to Secretary FBR and we tell them that this is the complaint against this particular officer. Now we are providing you an opportunity to respond to this complaint within 10-15 days. So they respond to that complaint, and in response to that, we receive parawise comments. And then once we have that, we confront that particular officer with the complainant. We invite both of them to either visit our office or to be available online. Usually FBR people are made to come to the office, and for the complaint, we have made it very convenient and easy that we tell them, okay, you are available online. And then together we provide them an opportunity. The complainant pleads his case. He does not, usually we tell them, okay, if you want to come without lawyer, that is fine. But if you want to bring your lawyer, that is equally good. So they sit across, tell us the entire the episode, whatever happened actually, and then we seek clarification. If we think that the complaint is genuine, we issue instruction to not to that individual, but to Secretary FBR that this officer did this thing, and there are two things which we require. The wrong act that they have done, which has affected, we say reverse that. I mean, like if anything they have done which is against the spirit of the law, we tell them like they have refused a refund of somebody. We tell them this was wrongly done because this guy provided you documents in time and you did not acknowledge and all that. So please, you need to provide that relief to the complainant, number one. Number two, that conduct of the officer, because that is the maladministration, we'll assess that. Sometime we tell the department to do to carry out a disciplinary proceeding against him. Sometimes we tell them this guy need more training. Sometimes we tell FBR, okay, this guy is not good enough for this particular office. You know, he need to be posted somewhere else. And sometimes we tell them to take to start criminal proceeding because the charge is very serious. Like if he has asked for a bribe or if because of his conduct. I'm going to give you an example that only it was yesterday. We had a complaint there where somebody imported something and that product was lying in the warehouses of the custom authorities. and the custom imposed certain duty on that. That importer contested that with the custom department and then with the high court, and high court said, okay, you need to pay this much duty and the product need to be released. He paid the duty, but once he came back to collect the product, it was told that the custom department, they destroyed that product, assuming this is a smuggled good, which they cannot do it. Now, what actually has happened is they might have sold that product somewhere. They might have, whatever they have done actually. Now, this guy came to us that this is a maladministration, that they were supposed to be the custodian of that product till the time there is not a final verdict from the High Court. And once the verdict from High Court came in the favor of the complainant and he came to collect the product was not there. Now, this is where we recommended to FBR to take a criminal action, start criminal proceeding against this person, because these people are liable for the loss of that individual. Another case, I give you an example. They had smuggled gold, and once it was adjudicated at different forums, High Court and Supreme Court, and ultimately Supreme Court pronounced that this gold should be returned back to the owners, and the custom authority said, oh, isko to chूहे खा गए हैं. Ab gold ko chूहे खा गए हैं. This is this is the excuse they gave. Now, this is again a serious maladministration. So we said, okay, if the mouse can eat the gold, we can start you out, you people. So unke khilaf bhi we have started adjudication, criminal proceeding against them. So these kind of the things, once the complaint come to us, we provide this kind of relief to the people.
Right, sir. Sir, considering that FTO has been dealing with the maladministration of FPR for some time now, what is your finding about the most common types of grievances that the general public is inflicted upon by the FBR?
Oh, well, it's usually because the taxation system is not very easy to understand. Even people who are very literate, it's a very difficult for them to file their tax return. And those who do not have consultants, they try to do it on their own and all that. They are not assisted by the department, and department try to make it more tough for them actually. So there are two kind of people. One are the individuals, the others are the companies, the business entities and all that. With the business entities, the biggest complaint that we get is the refund. Refund is once the tax is paid in advance. We all buy products, we do many other things. Sometimes people they import products. You people do banking transaction, and there is a tax which is known as a withholding tax. Now that withholding tax is deducted in advance, and by the end of the year, your tax is calculated. And if you have paid something in surplus, that need to be refunded. So this is a refund case. So most of the time we have people a serious complaint about the refund, that they are unable to get a refund. I give you an example. There was an 82-year-old person, retired person, and his taxation was, he again was looking after his own taxation personally. He was educated person and all that. The tax he paid through the mobile phone in advance. Whatever the bill you pay certain advance income tax. By the end of the year, he realized that he has paid 2,283 rupees in excess. So he started demanding that this is the excess amount that I have paid that need to be returned back. Now, he went to the income tax people. They said, okay, provide us the original receipt and all that, that this tax has been deducted. Remember, it's a very easy that if income tax people have deducted this tax, it is available in their system. You just like, you need to pull out the record with the CNIC number of any individual, and you will find that this tax has been deducted. So instead, they could pull out the record themselves. They made that guy run around. You go and bring the certificate. So he brought a certificate provided by the cell phone company that this guy has paid this 2,000 plus tax to us. And they said, no, this is a photocopy. We need an original one. Whereas they were not even supposed to ask for a photocopy. Their own record reflects that they have collected the text actually. So this old man went to the telephone company and got it. By the time he got it back, they said the duration in which you are supposed to submit that has expired. Now you can't do it. So this guy went to the commissioner. The commissioner refuses appeal. This guy went to the high court. High court refuses appeal. Then he came to us. Once he came to us, no, the problem, remember you guys, that if a case is a sub judice, is in any other court, then we don't take it up. We say, come to us if you have not put up or you don't have a pending dispute in any other court. So once he was done with that round of litigation in the High Court, he came to us and he said, look, this is only 2000 and for the last couple of years, they are giving me runaround. They have not paid my tax, and on the recovery of this, I have spent this much time and the money and all that. But he said, he being an old man, I have made it a point of my ego that a wrongdoing need to be corrected actually. So once he came to us, so we gave an order that there has to be an immediate refund of this to this gentleman. Plus, we recommended disciplinary action against those 3 officers who were not giving refund of this individual. No, FBR, instead they paid those 2,283 people. They opted to put up a representation with the President of Pakistan. When it went to the President of Pakistan adjudicated that pay this refund to this old man right away, number one. Number two, we suggested there should be disciplinary action. He said there should be criminal proceeding against these 3 officers. They were the chief commissioner, commissioner, and the deputy commissioner. And along with that, the third most important thing is he issued a public apology in all the newspaper and the media that he, being the President of Pakistan, is extending his apology to this old man for all the suffering he has got at the hand of the FBR official. So what we do is we ensure that the dignity of a person, a taxpayer, that need to be kept intact, and the suffering they get at the hand of the people. So what we do is we get them the refund. That's what I was going to do. Whenever there is not sufficient time provided by FBR, they come to us. We tell them, provide them sufficient time. You know, this is what need to be done. If they have done anything which is against the routine practice and is contrary to the system which prevails for anything, I mean, like if they are supposed to conduct an investigation, and for investigation they are supposed to serve a notice. If they have not served a notice and they have started doing investigation, this is a violation of the practice which they need to have to conduct an investigation. So that will come to us. This is their maladministration. They have bypassed this process. So again, we issue them instruction though. So these are the kind of remedies we provide to the people whenever there is a lapse on part of the FBR officials in income tax and the custom.
Right, sir. That was very well explained. I would be heading to my last question. And the last question is regarding a very famous case of yours that you have mentioned time and again, that is regarding the Suzuki Motors case. And you mentioned that case, basically, there were thousands of beneficiaries of that case, and that case was solved in your tenure. So can you please tell us something about that case? How did that went, and how did that benefit such masses?
I would like to explain 2 cases. But well, this is very important because some of our orders, it apparently turned out to be beneficial for thousands of people actually. So what happened? This was about 2 years back. The Suzuki car. We all book cars in advance actually, and the delay in delivery over here. the manufacturers they take a lot of time, and as a result of that, we have to pay a premium price, which we call the on, Gadi pe on hai. So the people who booked the Suzuki cars around 2 years back, there's a certain amount that you pay to the company, and the rest you pay at the time of the delivery. So once the invoice was generated at the time of the booking, and the people paid certain amount, that amount included 17% of the sale tax. You know, we sell product, we all pay sales tax on that. So that invoice had 17% of the sale tax. So what happened when the car got delivered after maybe 6, 8 months or 9 months of the time? At that time, at the time of the delivery, the sale tax got reduced from 17% to 12.5%. You know, so there was a rebate of almost 4.5% on the duty. The law says that the tax has to be paid when the product is delivered. Tax was collected initially in advance because that was the booking time, but the actual calculation has to be done when it is the product is delivered. Now, Suzuki car said, okay, no, the tax will remain 17% because FBR has told us to collect this much tax. And well, they all had to pay because they wanted to get their car. They had a wait time of 9 months, 1 year, something like this. One of the lady came to us. She was a banker, and she said for the last 2 years she has gone to the department that, look, you have charged an additional 4.5% tax. She went to the High Court, but she could not get relief from anywhere. We say this is a serious maladministration because the law says that it need to be calculated at the time of the delivery. So it is a deviation of the law. And when you have deviated from the law and you have not done the right interpretation of the law, this is a maladministration. So we took it up and we gave a verdict that 4.5% need to be refunded back to this individual. So once we did it, I wish we could we had something where we could give where we can issue orders which is implemented across the Pakistan, but there are certain limitation. We can only order against whatever the complaint that we have received. So once that lady, she got a refund back, then she propagated, newspapers propagated, and then we started our own campaign also. That's the wrong has been done by FBR. Whosoever has bought a car during that duration and you have paid extra sale tax, come to us. So as of today, we have made recovery for about 10,000 people. You know, that one decision, the beneficiaries are about 10,000 people. So now what happened? We do not just issue orders. Talha, we make sure to follow it up. Now, every month we get a report from FBR that how many people, those who approached us, we issue a recommendation that their additional tax need to be refunded. How many those have been have received the extra paid sale tax? Now the number is around 10,000 right now. That's a huge number. Similarly, I'll give you an example that there are certain slabs for the salary paid people, and those who do not have a salary more than 6 lakh rupees a year, they don't fall into the taxation slab. Actually, they have the income tax department has devised certain tiers. So this is the lowest tier, that the 600,000 below, they are not taxed for their income actually. Now, the people who are part-timers, the people who are contract employees, the people who are daily wagers, and they are working for the years and years and years in different organizations. Like there are daily wagers and the contract employees in Radio Pakistan, PTV, especially teachers. I mean, you people are in the educational institutions. So a lot of the people who come, who are not the regular employee, but they are the part-time employees. They come and deliver lectures and they go away. So the usual practice was to deduct 20% of the tax from them. And by the end of the year, their accumulative salary never used to cross 600,000 rupees. But whatever was paid, 30,000 paid, they will deduct 6,000 as a tax from them actually. So we issued an order that all those contract employees and the daily wagers who do not cross that 600,000. The salary tier should not be deducted with the income tax. And can you imagine, as of today, more than 200,000 people, they have benefited from them because they were losing money every month on being deducted on their salary. So this is very important that these kind of decisions. Similarly, we had soybean ships. They were six soybean ships. Those came here in Pakistan, and the custom authorities they informed the Ministry of Plant Protection to stop those from getting cleared. We intervened, we took own motion, and ultimately, as a result of that, those six ships they were released. But remember, as long as these ships were not released by the custom authority, there was a complete chaos within the Pakistan regarding the poultry industry. So these are some of the landmark decisions that we do, which benefit the general public in many ways.
Right, sir. Thank you. It was very insightful, and those were all the questions from my side. And now, if you allow, I believe we have some questions from the comment section from the audience. If you
Sure,
only allow,
sure, sure.
can we have the questions on the screen? Right.
Well, there's
So Ms. Hafsa Khan has asked, to what extent does the Pakistani legal framework empower the Federal Tax Ombudsman to independently investigate and redress grievances arising from disputes between taxpayers and tax authorities? As in, at what point does the jurisdiction gets limited?
I tell you one thing. There are very few institutions in Pakistan. Those are as independent as the Federal Tax Ombudsman is. It's a statutory body. We don't fall under the control and authority of Ministry of Law or anything else. We are totally independent to conduct our investigation. And to conduct our investigation, we have very credible people. Like the people who work with us, most of them, they have a 30 plus year of experience serving in customs and the income tax and the relevant department. And we have a three-tier system that the advisor, they conduct the investigation, they give their findings. The finding comes to the head office for a team which appraises it again, which go through and look at the facts, look at the relevant law and the conclusion, and then to make it further foolproof, Honorable Federal Tax Ombudsman, he along with a couple of other people, they again look at the entire findings and all that. So we are extremely independent, not at all influenced by anybody, and we take pride in this thing that our investigation has been very fair, very forthcoming, upright, and our findings have been appreciated by many forums. And I believe same holds for all the ombudsmen in Pakistan. Actually, all the ombudsmen, they act very independent and very fair.
Right. Can we have the next question? So Momina Zegam has asked, for a complainant to issue a complaint against the FBR, is it necessary that he has to be the aggrieved person, or can anyone who notices such grievances file a complaint on someone else's behalf?
Well, it has to be primarily, we say that it has to be an aggrieved person, somebody who has suffered and all that. But yes, you can file on his or her behalf, but there has to be an aggrieved person actually. You can report, okay, there's somebody who is not well versed with the law. That's what the lawyers and the attorneys also do. That somebody who is not well versed with the law, somebody who cannot really come to the offices, cannot comply with the procedure part and all that, though we have made it a very simple. Well, anybody can put up a complaint. But remember this thing. If you say that this is, we call it that it cannot be anonymous, it cannot be pseudonymous. Person has to be known. You cannot really complain about somebody, okay, look, this guy is doing something. If you want something like this, then you need to come forward. You need to provide us a concrete proof of that thing. And if you think that on the information that you have provided, you do not want to be part of the complaint, but the information is substantive, we will take own motion on that actually, but having said, we prefer the complainant has to be there.
Right. Mr. Shahid Khalid has asked, sir, what recommendations or reforms have been proposed to improve the effectiveness of measures aimed at combating the maladministration within the FBR under Pakistani law?
Well, this is a day-to-day struggle. We have different wings within FTO. Like we have a research wing which continuously conduct research. We look at the new laws and we see the complexity of that. We see how difficult these laws are at time to be implemented. We look at the formation of FBR and we look at the procedural side of that actually, how they conduct and run their operation in the fields and all that. And we issue recommendations on that too. So, as I said, it's a very difficult to make it a foolproof fair in Pakistan, where people within the FBR are not sensitive to provide the convenience to the general public. They make it difficult. This is the mindset actually. But what we are trying to do is to create a deterrence actually. Our actions, may I give you an example? Uh, in Pakistan history, this has never happened that one of an overseas Pakistanis who was taxed wrongly for 8 million. He was a doctor sending his money all the time from Saudi Arabia, but he was wrongly taxed 8 million rupees here in Pakistan, and he was forced to appear in person, whereas he's not. It is not mandatory for him actually even to be a taxpayer in Pakistan, but the commissioner forced him. First time in the history of Pakistan, we made the chief commissioner and both the commissioner to render a public apology in a hearing, which is recorded. If you go to FTO TV, you will find it over there. They publicly rendered an apology. Now, these kind of actions, they create deterrence. They create they create that kind of alarm and alert for the other FBR people. Look, there is going to be a huge embarrassment if we people are not going to conduct ourselves. FTO can make you even apologize publicly. So we are making an effort. It's an ongoing struggle. We try to make FBR work on the right track, but still the challenges are there.
Right. Thank you. Can we have the next question? So, Ms. Mehak has asked, sir, what is the jurisdiction of FDO? Do they have jurisdiction to investigate or inquire into matters related to assessment of income or wealth, determination of liability of tax or duty?
No, we don't. I explained right in the beginning, we do not have a jurisdiction on the assessment and the liability. This is something which FBR, if we get into that, actually, we are stepping on their toes, which is not our jurisdiction. That is for them to assess. That is for them to collect duties. That is for them to recover it. But in the process of assessment, in the process of recovery, in the process, if they have done something which is wrong, that is my jurisdiction. So assessment, recovery, imposition of the duty, that is purely their jurisdiction. But the procedure, if they adopt it wrong, that is my jurisdiction.
Right. Can we have the next question on screen, please? So Mr. Furqan has asked, what can we do to bring FTO's attention to a matter not directly related to us so that FTO may start own motion proceedings against it?
Very simple, very simple. What we desire is, recently we had a round in different high courts how to initiate own motion. FBR never wanted that we take own motion at any information that we get or anything which is highlighted here and there. So now we have a set mechanism that where there is a concrete research published somewhere in a newspaper, some TV report, some social media report, some investigation by other agencies. If it is like this, well, that can be, we can take up that particular issue through our own motion. So I give you an example. Anything that you find there is a high-handedness, you people do a social media show. That is good enough for me to take my own motion. You bring it to a newspaper, get it printed over there. That will provide me a reason to start my own motion. To start my own motion, I need something which is either on the media, or it is properly researched at a reliable forum, or it is, for that matter, referred to me by any other investigation agency.
Right, sir. Do we have any more questions?
I think we are done with that.
Yep. Sir, I must say that your passion for what you do is really commendable, and it is inspirational indeed. Thank you very much for all the services that you render to the people of this country, and thank you very much for gracing this webinar and providing us with such a practical insight on FTO laws and how FTO is working to provide relief to the aggrieved.
Thank you very much, Talha, and I really appreciate this is a great initiative by you all. And being a law student, you must continue with these kind of activities. You are always welcome. Any input ever you need, and I would like even to extend this offer that if you people want to do any research with FTO, anybody who is interested to do internship, anything that we can do together with your university and the department and this organization, you people are always welcome. Come to us, and I would love to guide you people and to work with you people.
Sir, thank you very much. It was an absolute honor to have you with us for this session. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us for this session. I hope and I believe that all of you must have learned something from this session. We'll be back with another informative session on some other crucial topic, which is in fact tomorrow. So join us for that. Stay tuned. Until then, Allah Hafiz.